Google is at war, absolute war with affiliate marketers.
They just smashed the hammer. They just removed and de-indexed a lot of sites from the web.
Think tank. And someone asked, like, I have a new website. I see the traffic go up and then it goes down. Like, what happened? I'm like, that's pretty normal when Google sees a new website, maybe a new web page on a website.
Brute force attacks, is that really be possible as well? Or is that Wix is super safe?
Running a display ads and just trying to get the impressions and the impressions and the impressions, you're going to need to convert. By the way, that won't work either because they'll read the content and they won't come back asking this question from like the SEO value of this.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at it the completely wrong way.
Welcome to the show, Mordy. It's great to have you here, ready to dive into some ninja SEO and brand building talk. And it's super crazy. I'm really very excited to have you up here. So how are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm not a ninja, by the way. I'm only like an orange belt.
That's so nice.
That's okay.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for asking. All right.
Sure.
Just let's start conversation with some kind of a story. Like, all right, in 1 minute or less, if possible, like, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what's your role at Wix?
Wow, you're asking me to be brief, and brevity, not my thing. Okay, I'm the head of SEO brand at Wix, and what I basically do is work on the positioning and messaging about SEO and digital marketing to both Wix users and Wix Studio users and to the wider digital marketing community. So how you think and feel about Wix and Wix Studio for SEO and digital marketing is kind of what I do.
No, I got you. Because when it comes to the Wix, I do have a lot of clients in Wix as well. So very first question, whenever we try to actually pitch them, the first thing they ask is, hey, we are not on WordPress, we are on Wix. Would that be okay for you guys to optimize it? So let's start with that one only. I mean, like, tell us a bit about that's kind of a thing that people have got, that any kind of a customization in Wix gonna be hard nut to crack. So what do you think about it? Do you think like adding out like a page level schemas or interlinking or even adding some kind of a custom code for tracking, I would say, is it kind of an easy thing in Wix or not?
All possible, all super possible. Half of it's done for you already. So like, I'll run through like super quick. Like 2017, 2018, Wix had a really bad reputation for SEO. Sometimes it still lingers on with like super WordPress users, but in general, core SEO community kind of gets it. Wix is actually really great. Google, John Mueller of Google's like, wow, Wix has done wonderful things for SEO. Aleda Solis, her consulting website is on Wix. Barry Schwartz, the king of SEO. He just built a personal website to try to get his knowledge panel because Barry has a knowledge panel problem because there's an imposter Barry on Barry SERP. It's on Wix. So Kevin Indig, his website is on Wix, and he used to work at Shopify. So big name SEOs have already switched to Wix. I kind of tell you everything. But to answer your question in particular, I'm not just going to name drop. Like, that's not how I like roll. Though I just roll that way, whatever. We automatically add product restricted data markup for events and courses, local business markup automatically out of the box. You can fully customize it as well. You can add scripts. You can do whatever you want. I don't think people realize this, but Wix is a full stack dev tool. So you can customize all of the JavaScript. And in Wix Studio, which is our agency offering, you can customize the CSS. So it's incredibly open. And on top, from SEO's point of view, we automate half of the things for you. Like if you change a static page link, let's say you changed it from like mysite.com/about to mysite.com/about me. We do the redirect automatically for you.
No, I do prefer this kind of a CMS sometimes as well, especially these days, because we've been working a lot with the e-commerce companies like a Shopify or something, and then the site speed and the kind of a functionality is phenomenal as compared to the WordPress, because the more the plugins you're gonna start adding it to this open source, it is more kind of a hiccups come up. Plus, all right, that's a pretty good question actually. I can ask you, like, malware attacks. what kind of thing, because I know it is super easy to crack the code and get inside this WordPress thing for any kind of like injection in for the script or something. Is that really be possible in Wix as well?
Yeah, for sure. You can add like a Hotjar script. People add inlinks all the time.
Oh yeah.
The head is open, so you can add whatever script you want, and you're good to go. So that's why basically we have a lot of native inbuilt integrations with Google Analytics, Amazon, Meta, TikTok.
Yep.
But you can also bring your own tool stack with you and just inject the script. Totally. You can use Google Tag Manager. That's another great way to work with it.
Yep.
I don't think people necessarily like realize like how cavernous and how deep Wix actually is, especially on the Wix Studio side. Like I'll put it like this, like don't kill me, Wix, for me saying this. WordPress is a good platform. Shopify is a good platform. There's a lot of good platforms. And I think when it comes to a CMS, people are like, well, either it's good or it's bad.
Oh yeah.
It's not like that for the most part. There are bad CMSs that you're gonna have to get me on a DM to tell me what I think is a bad CMS. I'm not gonna say that publicly. But most of them are pretty good. But there's different opportunity costs for you. And I'll say for like an agency on Wix Studio, I look at it like this. I don't look at it. I've talked to agencies look at it like this. You're charging the client $5,000 a month for digital marketing services, let's say, okay? 1,000 of that needs to go to fix plugins, maintenance, blah, 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 okay? If you're a nickel and dime SEO and digital marketing agency, you love that, right? I can now charge the client extra for the maintenance and the fixing of the plugin. But if you really care about your clients and you just want to actually grow the client,
something good,
right? So now you're taking that $5,000 and you're putting all of it to growth. And that $1,000 you want to go fixing a plugin, that's a new blog post. That's a PPC ad. That's whatever it is. That's actual growth and not fixing things.
Yes, no, that's actually very brilliant, because a lot of agencies, they normally go after this kind of like a shortcut ways to make a recurring income for them, to do the maintenance. Hey, everyone, we will go and make sure like all your plugins are up to date and everything is super good. So now I think it is really very. So my question is like in Wix, the brute force attacks, is that really be possible as well, or is that Wix is super safe?
That's the whole thing about using a closed CMS. There's people like open CMS versus closed CMS, right? So open CMS, you can access the server, and so can everybody else.
Yep.
I once had a conversation with Google's John Mueller about this on Twitter. I was kind of like, why is everybody so into accessing the server? Like, how often does that really come in unless you're a particular profile kind of site? He's like, most people just end up locking themselves out of the server. And then your site is completely
gone,
just inaccessible. But that is the value of using a Wix or a Wix Studio, is that it's enterprise level security, but you're not paying enterprise prices. It's economy of scale, right? That's the whole advantage of using something like Wix or Wix Studio.
Yep. No, it's a very solid point. I think majority of the people, they don't really understand that. They feel it like, hey, it's just another company bringing in the same kind of a functionality. So why to use that one if you got a WordPress and more flexibility to move from one host to another? But they need to understand like it's a open source, and this is an enterprise solution which is more secure, more easy, and maybe gives a more kind of a flexibility as well. Maybe because let's say bookings, or maybe let's say some kind of a AI or something, they need to install every single plugin, they need to purchase themes. Whereas in Wix, there is the free library itself is pretty good, with full of themes.
It's all there, and it's economy of scale. And you're paying like for example, like the hosting. Like we have an advanced global CDN network. You don't have to pay for like, oh, I need to have backup. It's all there. It's all done. You don't need to think about
it. Yeah. Now, all right.
You just grow. You grow the client. We'll do the rest.
Yeah, we'll do the rest. Yeah.
I'm totally overselling it. You have to do a lot of it yourself also.
All right. So let's talk about AI stuff these days in the SEO world. After this AI revolution, there is a lot of debate going on, which is between the content quality and the quantity. So how do you actually strike the right balance between them? Because the AI tools, the people say, hey, just go and hit the button, use a REST API in a WordPress, just push it like 1,000 articles in a matter of a week, and we're going to be millionaire next week.
So I mean, like, first off, like, if you're asking this question, you're an agency or a business, and you're asking this question from like the SEO value of this,
Yeah,
I think you're looking at it the completely wrong way. You
yep,
should look at it, if I write this content like
yep,
this with this AI, whatever, and the user actually lands on the page, are they going to be happy or not happy? Because getting, let's say you rank and you get the click, mazel tov, you got a click. Now what? Unless you're just a website that's running a display ads and just trying to get the impressions and the impressions and the impressions, you're going to need to convert. By the way, that won't work either because they'll read the content and they won't come back again.
yes,
So if you're looking at it just on like what will get me clicks, that's just the wrong way of looking at it. The second thing is you're just playing with fire. There's been endless number of SEOs doing like mini studies on this. Mark Williams Cook from Candor did a thing on this. He created a bunch of AI content, spun it up, it ranks, and then it falls off. And you see this, by the way, all the time. Like if you create a new website, I was just talking about this in there's a SEO Slack group called Traffic Think Tank, and someone asked like, I have a new website. I see the traffic go up and then it goes down. Like, what happened? I'm like, that's pretty normal when Google sees a new website, maybe a new web page on a website. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Let's give it a little run and see how it goes. And then it naturally like turns that faucet off a little bit and makes you earn it. So you might see the AI content do the same thing. Like, all right, we're going up, but Google's going to turn that faucet off. If it doesn't turn
bring
it
it
off
down.
now, you're just playing with fire. Look what's happening in the affiliate space. Google is at war, absolute war with affiliate marketers.
Yep,
So all these affiliate marketers who are doing like product reviews, like the 5 best fridges, and it wasn't really great content. Google's going after that. And Google's going after unhelpful content. Google's going after low quality content. And if they haven't figured it out yet, my money is on Google to figure it out, not on you to get around Google.
true. True. No, that's very true. And I guess we have already seen that in this recent Google March update, where they just smashed the hammer, they just removed and de-indexed a lot of sites from the web. Some of the people who were just blasting out like dozens of content every single day on those websites. So what they did, they just said like, hey, no, this is not acceptable. I mean, like, so the big spike, it came down really quickly. So there was a big edge like that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was part of their March 2024 spam update, was this the automated content. They
Yep.
specifically told you we don't want that.
We don't want that. No,
No,
that's
but
true.
they're still using it on the SERP though. Like they're still creating AI. So what's good for the goose, I guess, is not good for the gander. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yep. No, Mordy, I still believe like AI is good in some way to get the facts at least. And then we still need the human touch to be involved into that, to actually understand the facts and put it in a nice way that the user can actually come to the website, read about it, and can actually get something out of that too. So there is a thing which we are going to talk next is the brand building. So you can putting out the right kind of facts and producing a right kind of a human touch content can actually help in some kind of like a brand building as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's really that's where the web is heading for a variety of reasons, in my opinion. I mean, you even have SEOs talking about brand building now, which is like a
Yep.
fun thing for me because I do SEO and I do brand building. So like, yay, it's my sweet spot. But
Right.
it's kind of where the internet is really heading for a variety of reasons. I think both, it's almost like the perfect storm. On the one hand, you have users who are more skeptical. They're looking for user-generated content. They kind of realize like, brands are disingenuous. Influencers are really just saying that they like this bar of soap because they're being paid. They don't actually use that soap. And people are starting to catch on to all of this, and they're looking to user-generated content now. And I think there's that side of the equation combined with the AI side, like, okay, like this is generic AI. I'm looking for something a little bit different. I want something a little more personal, and that's not what I want. So AI is ironically coming onto the scene in a moment in internet history where the swing is so far away from what AI is actually good at.
True.
If you want to live on today's internet or tomorrow's internet, I think you're going to have to really start thinking about how do I build my brand up the right way so that I'm not caught in this place where people think I'm either too salesy, I'm too old school, markety, whatever, or I'm just AI generated. There's nothing real here.
True. No, that's true. So let's talk a bit about the brand building a bit. So let's take a hypothetical scenario. There is a new business, a local business, I would say, is coming in with so what do you suggest about them? I mean, like, do they need to go about brand building? Because let's presume they do not have any brand visibility at all, maybe very less brand visibility. So do they need to go after the brand visibility, or do they need to go after the standard traditional SEO thing where to actually find out the right keywords and then use some agency or something to get it ranked and produce some results for the agency, for their business?
So I think there's a few points that are just like a little bit funny, right? Like one is I think people look at SEO as like top of the funnel, like the first thing I should be doing in marketing. I think SEO is maybe like the second or third thing you should actually be doing. You have to get ready to do SEO. You
Okay.
can't just go ahead and go into SEO. It won't be effective. It won't be a good business strategy because it takes a long time for the SEO to kick in. What are you going to do for the 6 months to a year until then? Just sit back and wait. It's kind of silly. In terms of small brands, I was just talking about this on my podcast with Ronell Smith, who was a great brand building mind. He used to work over at Moz. And he said, like, it's funny, like people keep saying, oh, small brands don't need brands. Small businesses don't need brands. But it's so not true. First off, you already have a brand. Let's say you have a website, you have a social media account, whatever it is, okay? You're even just like a little bit out there, you have a brand. You just don't have a strategy, or you're not
Yep.
controlling your own narrative. Brand just means how people see you, how they feel about you, and how they associate to you. So either you're helping them do that, or you're just spitting things out and they're creating that association and that sentiment on their own without you. So the answer is you already have a brand, you just don't know it, and you should control it and you should use it. The second thing is like, I think people feel, and I hear SEO say this a lot.
Yep.
Oh, only a big brand could do brand building. They have all the money, they have all the this, they have all of that. You're right. If your conception of what it means to build a brand is like Nike, I'm going to have commercials and billboards, I'm going to have Michael Jordan, and I'm going to have this, my logo is going to be on all the baseball jerseys. That's one kind of brand building. There is another kind of brand that's more, it's niche, let's say local brand, that's, you know, organic and grassroots and really
Yep.
part of the community and gives back to the community. You just want to get momentum. Okay, what everyone is looking for at the end of the day is momentum. Nike's looking for one kind of momentum.
Yep.
You as a local business, I think, are looking for a different kind of momentum. So your brand activities are going to be different, but it doesn't mean that it's nonetheless branding just because you don't have Michael Jordan slam dunking over Spike Lee in a TV
Yep.
commercial.
Yep. So how, so that makes me ask the next question is like, if there is an agency who is actually going to approach clients, how do they actually go and convince them that, hey, you need to focus on the brand building then over the short-term ranking results? I mean, like, because it's sometimes really very hard to actually convince the clients, especially if it's like a locksmith or plumbers, because they might kind of say, hey, what I need to do with the clients, I can just go and run the ads and generate some leads for myself. So yeah, what's your take on
Yeah.
that?
I mean, so the first thing is like the best way to do is let them fail, right? And then come in, hey, look, you probably should have done this.
Told you.
Because for every, I think the way I would put this, and I think it's where like SEOs kind of need to be a little bit more, let's say, honest about things. Let's say you're in a big city, out of Chicago or New
Yep.
York, okay, and
Yep.
you're a plumber. I used to be a like in another lifetime, 20 years ago. I used to be the CEO of a property management company in New York City. We had 30 apartment buildings and 3,000 apartment units, whatever it was.
Yep.
And we used to use plumbers and electricians all the time. There are a gazillion plumbers in New York City.
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's a gazillion of them. In the local pack, 3 of them are going to
Yep.
show up.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you need to be one of those 3. Now, I'll try to help you. I'll try to get there, yada, yada, yada. Let's say you're not. Let's say you're not one of those 3.
I'm gone.
What are you going to do? Now,
Oh yeah.
also, to be one of those 3, one of the factors is you have to have a lot of reviews.
Yep.
How are you going to get the reviews? You can't get to the 3-pack until you get the reviews for the most part, right? Let's just say in a competitive market.
Yep.
So you want your plan is to rank to get the reviews, but you can't rank until you have the reviews. You need to start building up your business first. That's how I would spin it.
Yep.
Also,
So-
long term, like look, Google rolls out an update. And Google sometimes gets them wrong. They've said like, yeah, we roll things back. Or they don't say they roll things back, whatever. They sometimes make changes.
All
If
right.
you put all of your stock into staying, you're already in there. You're the number 2 business in the local pack. Who's to say Google doesn't make an update, a bad update, and you're gone and you can't get back?
Yep.
There's a lot of things you need to think about beyond just like, oh, I'm number 2 in the local pack. Life is good.
Yeah, because we can't really rely on all this, and especially when you know, like, hey, the Google is being keep on very aggressive these days. They keep on changing things without any proper visibility, like a brand or something. They're just relying on the mercy of Google. Hey, there's something Google.
That's the sell. Like that's the emotional sell. Why are you relying on whether it be Instagram or Google or whatever when you can use those things and start having people come to you and they're looking for you, because that's much more reliable. If
Oh
I
yeah,
have brand sentiment and brand awareness and people like, when I think plumber, I think Bob's Plumbing. Like
yep,
that's just where my mind goes.
yep,
There's no algorithm that's going to prevent me from saying, you know, I'm going to call Bob right now.
true. That's very true about it. Yeah. So and yeah, and that's very true about it. That brand building is really very important, and agencies can actually take it as a very good upsell for a new product in their agencies as well. Because rather than just relying on the PPC, rather than relying on Google Map Snack or even the SEO, they can even add this brand building as a very good stack in their agency as well.
I will tell you a secret at the risk of like, marketing myself out of this like niche. When people come, when I consult on the side, that's exactly when you want content, you want this, you want that. The way I'm like, look, we can do all these things separately, or we can look at all of these things together as part of a whole brand strategy.
Yep.
Nothing really changed in terms of the performance, but all we're going to do is leverage the power of your brand to rank higher, to
Yep.
produce more effective content, to do better on social media. So you're doing all the same things, but when you do them in the context of brand marketing, you're just doing them better.
Oh yeah. Yep. So now here is the $1,000,000 question. Like, what do you think is the best way, a complete in a layman language? I'm asking you, like, what is the best thing you think the modest way of building out a brand for a local business? Why I said local business? Because I know like Wix has got a big database of the clients are the local businesses as well. I don't know whether they promote it in that way or what was the reason. I've never seen too many sites in the e-commerce or something which are running on Wix. I could be wrong as well, but I'm just
No,
thinking.
there's a huge amount of websites. Like there's a huge amount of ecom websites. There's enterprise websites. Like my favorite website is the Major League Baseball's Players Association. Like their union is on Wix, and I'm a big
All right.
baseball fan. But
Yeah.
yes, Wix started off catering to small small businesses, and now obviously we've gone like way past that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Okay,
Yeah.
so what would I tell a small business about branding?
Exactly. Point by point and a quick pointers. What do you think about it?
So the way I look at like branding in general is like it's really about create. So there's two things. There's the creation of the brand, and then there's putting it out there. It's
Yep.
almost like content marketing, like, and people confuse this all the time. Like content marketing, like ubiquitous term that means like everything. There's the content creation, and then there's distribution. It's really the same in brand. There's the creation of the brand, and then there's putting it out there.
Yes.
And putting it out there and building it, yada, yada, yada. The first thing you need to do in terms of building a brand is the identity. And that's the identity should really be the intersection of who you are and who your target audience is and the overlap between them. That's your identity, right? So
Yep.
if I am a locksmith, and what makes me a great locksmith, I am really great at solving like complex locks, like super crazy locks, right?
Yep.
So my audience probably has really big problems, because who has a really complicated lock? Like maybe a bank, maybe like a big, I don't know, warehouse, like, and they're going to be high stakes. Okay, great. So I do complicated locks. My client is making this up, is going to have a high stakes issue. Okay, my brand identity is going to center on the fact that I solve high stake lock issues.
Yep.
Now I have my identity. Now I need to create effective messaging, and I have to put it out there. Leaving aside the messaging for a minute, because you do have to like, how do I angle this? But it should really naturally flow. Like at this point, you should have a natural flow of how you do the messaging and the positioning, because the identity should naturally lead into that, right?
Yep.
Now you need to get momentum going. Now you need to do things that are going to give you, it's all about momentum, right? So whether it be having a, a local event, workshops, I'm saying it's a general rule, I generally look at education that doesn't focus on my product, which I know sounds crazy, as a
Yeah.
great way to build brands. Because you know what? The bank who's got the big lock problem down in a year down the road doesn't care about right now? Me. They don't have a problem right now. And in general, they don't care about me anyway. They care about their problem. Right?
Exactly.
They don't care.
Exactly.
What they do care about is making sure they don't get into a problem in a year down the line. Right?
Yes.
That might be something that they care about.
Yes.
So create that educational content. Like imagine I had like the ultimate, don't say the ultimate. That just the complicated locks resource center. And I have podcasts and webinars and tutorials and like tips on how to maintain your lock, whatever it is.
Yep.
So you're coming in, you're gaining momentum around that. You're positioning yourself as a thought leader. You now have content, which means you have cadence, and cadence is huge for momentum. You're creating top of mind awareness, because now these people are coming in. It's probably a very unique thing that not a lot of people are doing. You might not get a lot of traffic, right? But again, you're small, but you don't need tons of traffic. You need to have the right niche.
True.
And now when they have a problem down the line, even though they might not have seen it, someone says, "Oh, you know what? Like I know Mordy has a great hub on a lot complicated locks. Why don't you check him out? I've seen him put out some great videos."
Oh,
All
yes.
of that momentum, like if you follow, like that's kind of the general path that I would take.
Yes, no, that's a very solid point. And I think these kind of same strategies can be applied on any business type, no matter if it's like the SEO agency, if it's like a digital marketing or whatever. Because
It's the same framework.
yeah, every industry has got some kind of like a pain points, some kind of education which can be given, no matter because it's not really right that we are just coming and promoting our products all the time, making out of videos. Hey, I'm one of the best guy in the field and all that, because people, they don't really want that. People, they want to get educated that what should they do to not get into that kind of a situation where you said bank. Bank was a very good example. Like, hey, that how they can go and make it a kind of like a measure so that they have a more sustainable locks in place. It could be like changing the locks. It could be like greasing them up or oiling them up, whatever it is. So yeah, no, I think that's a solid.
And it's not rocket science, right? Like you're saying it. It's not crazy difficult. I mean, it's a lot of work, whatever, but people don't do it because it means not talking about you. And people don't like to not talk about themselves.
Yeah, because see, it's a common psychology. People, they always, the majority of the people, they always think like, I should, brand building means my brand, means I should be talking about my brand only all the time. I can do this, I can do that. These are my specialties, and then what? So people are not interested, I guess, these days to talk more about the education part. Some of them they are, but I completely agree with you. Like, it is very important to provide education, because education is something gonna make them separate. It's gonna leave a kind of a footprint in the subconscious of the people who are actually listening to that as well.
That's a great point. Yeah, it creates a lot of really good latent associations. Like I used to be a teacher, so I'll tell you that one of the only relationships that are like very close to parent-child is student-teacher, because you're offering information, you're caring for them, you're providing for them, they're looking to you as someone who's going to help them. It's a very, very powerful relationship, and it's a very powerful way to position your brand, because you're creating all associations like, oh, they're interested in helping me, they're interested in providing for me, they care about what's, the community, or they care about this. It's a great way to position your brand without ever saying a word.
Yep. No, I'll definitely take that point in consideration, for not for just local businesses to tell them all about it, even for our agency as well, because I think that is somewhere we need to focus a lot as well. When we
You're doing
make
it right
like
now. You're doing a
SEO.
podcast.
Yeah. We as an agency's owners, agency owner need to actually focus a lot on giving out the education, and especially at this time when the algorithm is keep on changing, the SEO is going through a very dramatical changes and all that. So I think it is actually very important. And so content planning, when we say, it's a common myth that people have got, like content planning is all about like go and publish out 1500 words of content on the website. But I guess the content planning could be done on the YouTube. It can be done on Instas. It can be done in the form of short reels as well. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it should be like first of repurpose, like from a content strategy point of view,
Yeah,
repurposing is your best friend because the content
yeah,
is hard, content takes time. If you already created it, then repurpose the heck out of it. Like a
exactly.
podcast, you have the audiogram, you have the YouTube, right? You have the like you have all kinds of ways to repurpose it, social media, blah, 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 blah. That's
True.
just great. In terms of like deciding like where to focus, it's obviously, I'm not saying like from a brand marketing mindset that you don't want to target like opportunities where you're going to get traffic, you're going to get clicks. What I'm saying is, as you're thinking about the content, there's a great story. My uncle told me this story.
Yeah.
Neil Young, who's like a old, classic rock musician, he was giving a concert and someone yells out in the front row, "All your songs sound the same."
Oh
And
yeah.
he answered back, "It's all one song." It's a
Oh, it
great
just
line. Yeah, it's almost your content is not this piece or that piece or that piece. It's all one song. It's a corpus. It all accumulates together. It's like Neil Young. It's all one song.
Oh yeah.
So don't think about, I'm going to create this piece or that piece or that piece. What you should be thinking about is, if I want to write a piece that's going to get me a lot of traffic, what are
Yes.
the other pieces I'm going to need in order to get there? In
True.
terms of both the algorithm, like Google's not going to just rank me automatically for that. And also from like people coming to my website and seeing like what's already on my website. Why are you writing about that? I need to know about this, this, and this, and this first. Thanks a lot.
Oh yeah.
So you have to plan out your content from a brand point of view. But as you're doing that, target the opportunities that come up. But what I'm saying is, brand isn't like, oh, if I do brand, I'm not doing performance marketing. I don't look at it like that. When
Yeah.
you do brand, you're setting yourself up to create the opportunity to do effective performance marketing.
Yep. Yep. No, that's super cool, man. You're pretty smart guy in that way, I guess.
I just talk well. I'm a good
Yeah.
talker.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, no, that's very true, because I guess one of the misconception that people have always got, like to make or start with something, they need a complete perfect solution in place. They need a nice camera, they need a full-fledged team, they need a content script writers. But I think what they really need is just an initiative. They need to get started. Everything gonna get perfection all by itself over time.
Go back. I don't know how many episodes of this podcast you've done. I've done like hundreds of episodes of like podcasting in my life. I go back to the first podcast I did. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe like
What's that
that's what
mean?
I put out. But you don't get to the point where now I have a polished podcast or I have a polished blog without having that first post where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Oh, yes.
That's
True.
just life, avoiding that.
That's a life. That's true. I mean, like we look back, and that's what my father always used to tell me when I was a kid. Like he used to tell me, "Hey, look back and see what you can see." I used to look back and say, "Hey, it's a wall. Now just try again. It's a wall." Third time, and he used to tell me, "Hey, this is where you're wrong." The moment you're gonna see yourself over there, that's the time you're gonna say that, "Hey, I've come too far in my life." Because you have
That
to see a reflection of yourself over there, so that you can measure out and say, hey, I'm coming too far in my life. So the same thing fits in every way. It's because brand building and all that kind of things, it's like a complete ecosystem. We need to go and build out in a way that, hey, let's focus on the brand, like you said, perfect point. In that one, we're gonna do this, which includes SEO, gonna map acts, gonna be content marketing, video marketing, and all that kind of things. So yeah, it's a
yep.
complete ecosystem in itself. I highly recommend, and I completely agree with you as well. All right, just a very final question, Mordy. I mean, like, just in a quick way, what's the Mordy's best way to rank websites on SERPs?
What's the best way to rank a website? Buy a lot of links. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, ESA.
The, 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 The best way is taking the slow way.
Oh, yes. I think the fundamentals is still the same. A lot of people, they say SEO has been changed a lot. It was very easy back in 2012, and now the things has been changed a lot. No, we can't do it. No, I think the fundamentals was always the same at that time, even today. It's just like we as SEOs, we try to manipulate it really too much. We're using some gray hat tactics or something like it. What do you think?
No, the fundamentals are the same. Like you want to have good, well-structured content. We get your title tag set up and your header set up, internal link, all of the foundational stuff. Like, internal link has been a conversation now, like, oh, internal linking. Or like that's an SEO strategy like for forever.
No, that's true.
Not new.
True. All right. No, that was a super great talk, man. I really appreciate all the time you have given me. Trust me, I learned a lot from you as well. This house
Same here.
was pretty packed with a lot of information, and definitely I'm going to apply few of the things to recommend that kind of stuff to my clients as well. And so, yeah, for the people who want to know more about you, want to get in touch with you for anything, or want to read more of your stuff, what do you publish? What is the best way for that? Is a LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter? What is that?
So I publish a lot of content on the Wix SEO Learning Hub. It's wix.com/SEO/learn. We have webinars, podcasts, articles, resources. We do a daily, if you're interested, we do a daily news SEO show to
Oh,
keep
yeah.
up on the SEO news. We do with Barry Schwartz and Greg Finn. It's a great show. It's called It's New. Check it out. Totally plugging. But if you want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Mordy Oberstein,
Yep.
and the same on X, which used to be Twitter.
Yep. Now I'll put it in the video description as well. So just quickly, I mean, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what kind of changes you have seen since you have joined Wix? What has been changed?
I mean, it's a totally different, when I first joined originally back in, I think it's 2020. I think I'm terrible with the year 2020.
During COVID.
Yeah, it's during COVID. You were just starting to see Wix start to really get into agencies building out websites on Wix. The truth is, I think I'm allowed to share this. Agencies are responsible for most of the growth on Wix at this point. I think, or at least like year over year kind of growth.
Yep.
We've released Wix Studio. It's an agency first platform. You can manage clients. You can do things like advancing like custom templates. It has AI powered responsiveness. It has access to the CSS. You can do a lot of things in there. And the shift from Wix from your business, average business owner, to now you're talking about major agencies building out crazy things on Wix Studio. It's a huge shift. It's almost unrecognizable anymore.
Oh, yeah. And is that Wix has got an API as well, so that we can
there's a whole, so there's tons of APIs you can pull in. I would check out, if you're interested in that, check out Velo by Wix. It's a custom dev tool. You can pull in all sorts. There's an SEO API. There's a ton of stuff in there. Definitely have a look at it.
Super, man. I will definitely look into that. No,
Cool.
thanks for that, Mordy. I really appreciate the time you have given me, man. That's really cool. This last, I guess, about like 40 minutes was pretty packed with all the information. And yeah, now I definitely need to take you again on a call sometime in the future, man. There is definitely a lot more we can talk about it. And it'll be exciting. Now, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Mordy. Really appreciate your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.